Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So today I want to go over weight shifting in 3 planes. Alright, so the 3 planes of the body are the sagittal plane, which is if you cut me right down the middle, my right half, my left half, it's that plane of motion, so it's going to be bending forward, bending back, stepping forward, stepping back. Alright, so you got the frontal plane or the coronal plane, which would be if you cut me down the side here, so I'd have a front half and a back half. That's going to be more side bending, side stepping type of movements. And then the transverse plane, which would be cut me right across, I'll have a top half and a bottom half, and that's going to be more rotational movement. Alright, so just an easy weight shifting drill to start with in the sagittal plane would be get in a staggered stance, and what you're going to do is just kind of shift all your body weight forward onto the front leg and unload the back leg, and you should naturally come up onto the big toe. So in walking, this becomes the rollover portion of walking right before I lift my foot up, bring it through to a heel strike. So very important to have this sagittal plane weight shifting in just the gait cycle or walking cycle. Alright, so we can start there, and the key here is to be able to bring your center of gravity over the leg, not lunge forward or not lean your whole body forward and bend this knee. What I want to do is I just want to bring this hip and my center of gravity over this, so I'm basically on one leg here, and I'm really just offloading this back leg, and you get this natural kind of rollover onto the big toe and heel lift, alright? And then the opposite would be true. We shift back into this leg. Now naturally the toes come up, and I'm in this kind of rocking pattern like a rocking horse. So I'm going to shift back and forth, alright? And just make that feel natural. And then I can progress that by getting a little bit wider with my step and stepping back. Alright, so stepping forward and stepping back until I just come into a lunge position naturally. So lunging is very much about weight shifting. If you cannot weight shift here, you're going to be very uncoordinated with your lunge, and it's going to put a lot more stress on your joints and other structures that is really unnecessary. Alright, so think about the weight shift here first. Start to get a little bit bigger with it, a little bit bigger, and then all of a sudden, now you're in a lunge. So that's one example of sagittal plane weight shifting. Another one is if I have both feet forward, I can start with just shifting my weight in a standing position into the heels and then into the toes. So on the video, you probably won't be able to see much movement, which is good. I can move into my heels, move into the toes, and then as I get my hips involved, I move more into the heels, not so much that my toes come up and I tip back, but just enough to feel like I'm starting to get into these hips, and all of a sudden it becomes a hip hinge. And then as I come forward, now I'm not going to go to the toes yet, I just want to be grounded through my whole foot. So I'm going to push my whole foot down, make sure my heel's grounded. If I go into the toes, now I'm going to start losing my balance forward. Alright, so I'm going to shift into the heels, and then just come up and do a full foot and push down. Alright, if I go to the front of the feet, now I'm going to come up into kind of a heel raise type of movement. I want to make sure that I can balance there. Back, into the heels, now I'm in a hip hinge. Alright, forward, plant my feet down, shift to the front of the feet, and I'm going straight up. I want to still be on in the glutes and the quads so my legs are straight, and it's triple extension. Come back down, shift into the heels. Alright, so wherever you are in that process is where you train, right? So if you are just having trouble weight shifting into the heels and toes in standing, well then you got to work on that. If you can start getting deeper into your hip hinge, then you want to work on that. And then if you can have enough balance to shift forward and hold yourself, and then if you have to step forward, you do. But this is how you're going to work on all this weight shifting in the sagittal plane on 2 feet, okay? So that ends up being a deadlift and almost a jump squat. Alright, that I can shift back and shift forward, and I can go from that hip hinge position to an explosive triple extension. Alright, so that's the sagittal plane. There's 2 examples there. So if we look at shifting in the frontal plane, we're going to just start with moving our hip to the left and shift all our weight over the left leg, and then vice versa, we shift our hip to the right, most of the weight goes to the right leg, and we're offloading this left. We can make that a little bit more flowing and combine it with some transverse plane or rotational movement by looking in the opposite direction in which they were weight bearing. I believe PRI refers to this as shifting, and then it's something that actually puts a stretch on the vagus nerve, which helps to calm down the nervous system and relax things. I don't know how well proven that is, but I can tell you, rocking my daughter to sleep, it tends to work well for her, so there is something to it, and it definitely makes me calm down a little bit as I just rock back and forth. All right, but going forward with the weight shifting into more athletic or functional movements, you have a step and shift and bring your legs back. All right, so sort of like we were doing in the sagittal plane with the lunge, except we're going side to side, and then you just get bigger with that, and then you can reach the hands down and shift forward. And you do that side to side. Okay, and then in any type of shuffle, there has to be a shift and push up. Okay, if you don't get this good shift, what happens is I step here, I keep my body weight over this right leg, and I do some type of Bambi looking thing coming down, and that happens here. And you see that quite a bit where the foot will fall in. So weight shifting just allows it to be a much more natural movement. This leg opens, this leg's getting a stretch in the inner thigh, the knee is out over the foot, just better mechanics. But you don't really have to think about it quite as much if you're just going with that natural weight shift. So if we're looking at weight shifting in the transverse plane, we'll start just looking forward, feet planted, and then you're gonna have one hand touch the front hip, and then the back of the hand is gonna touch the opposite buttock. All right, and then we just shift side to side. And one hand touches the front, other hand touches the back. Just let everything be loose, eyes are facing forward. And you can see right in the groins here, there's a small little motion, rotation in the hips. All right, I want to make that bigger. Start following my hands with my eyes. Get the neck involved. All right, you start off loading the feet a little bit, and then the bigger motions. Now I actually start turning and facing the side walls. And then get bigger with that until that feels very comfortable and relaxed. And then I can just get a little bit bigger with it. I can drop down, and I'm in a lunge, rotational lunge. All right, and then I can turn that into more athletic movements, like punching, coming from the hips, not just throwing the arms. I can do forehand, backhand. All right, so it starts with weight shifting, and then it turns into more advanced athletic movements. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. See you next time.